This Auto-Vox M1 is my favorite backup camera. I've put it in 3 different vehicles. In this video I'm going to show it being installed in a 2011 Honda Accord, but I've also put this in a Toyota Corolla and in a Chevrolet Impala. This is not a sponsored video. I purchased this because I really like it. Having an older car doesn't mean missing out on the advantages of a backup camera. You get very sharp, reliable video from this camera. And the monitor has kind of a unique plug that plugs into the wiring harness that runs from the back of the vehicle to the front, and also contains the 2 wires that have to connect to the backup camera. Now we're plugging the camera, again a modular plug, into this module that's part of the wiring harness. Now here are the only 2 wires that need to be wired into your car. The red wire goes to the power on the backup light, and the black to a vehicle ground, chassis ground. I'm using this 12-volt battery to simulate the backup signal. Many backup cameras use a DC jack on the car to provide power to the monitor or camera. This one uses the same 12-volt signal that goes to the backup light. Very efficient. Let's remove the license plate and get started. So mark the midpoint on your plate. You're going to be using a 3M quality tape they're using on here, and it attaches on both sides. Carefully center it. There's a little groove on this bracket too. Make sure it fits into the groove on the plate. So it's centered right on there. And fits in this groove in the back. Now this car has a panel fastener in just exactly the right location and size for me to slip the camera wiring up into the trunk. I don't see some critical purpose for it, so we're just going to leave it out. If the opening around the wire bothers you, you could stick a little silicone sealant on there. Yeah, you'll notice that the trunk lid liner is missing here. You'd have to remove maybe 5 or 6 panel fasteners and pull that off in order to get to where I am right now. We'll just pull the entire length of the camera cable through. This also has the 3M tape on the other side, so take that off, carefully position it, clean up the mating surface, and screw them. Pressing down so the tape makes contact under there. So we're going to be installing this on the left rear light. So we've got to take out a few pieces here to get to that. Okay, now I'm going way in here. You might want to move closer. Got to take this fastener off back here. Now you can pull out that large flat bottom piece. Next we're going to take out or move aside the left rear molded cover, and we're starting above the tail light. This is kind of a 2-piece fastener. You can unscrew it or you can pry it out. Make sure you keep track of them. And the next panel fastener is kind of at the upper left. You can see it there. The next panel fastener is kind of a lower middle, and it's a 1-piece. Just get your fork under there and pry it out. And there's another 1-piece that would have been under that middle flat cover. Just pry that one out. Before we can get this completely out of the way, we have to remove one more hidden panel fastener. We're going to have to fold the back seat in order to get at that. Okay, now in order to get the pull the seat forward, we have to pull this middle shoulder harness out of its guide right here. So just remove that. Simple little operation. Pull the release and push down the seat. And then I'm going to push this right here. Now as you come around from the driver's side, that final panel fastener will come into clear view and take it out. It's right here. I'm going to pull this. Then can always put a finger over it so it doesn't go flying on you, so you don't launch it. Now, we can get this whole piece out. At least I think we can get the whole piece out now. And it still isn't going to come out. Wow, is that a big molded piece? And there's plenty of room to run wire through there. So here's the only wire we have to connect to car wiring. The red to the backup light power, and the dark one to ground. And otherwise everything's a modular plug-in. Okay, so there's the backup light. Now I'm gonna take some of this black one that's off of here. So I have to crimp in there. This electrical tape is kind of in the way here. Now there's a couple ways to determine which one is the 12-volt power wire and which one is the ground. You can have a partner shift it into reverse while you have a test light on there, see which one lights it up. Or use an ohm meter to measure the ground and see which one is 0 ohms to ground. Now we're going to bring the camera and power wires through the trunk lid to the backup light. And as we're going to do throughout the entire video here, we're going to follow an existing wire harness and just bind it to it. Yeah, I purchased another splice here because the one that's included in there would not penetrate the jacket. Well, they looked the same, but I'm guessing the metal they used was maybe too soft, not penetrating the jacket. Okay, make sure it's in the channel. And then bring in the red wire. Now for the black, we're going to just put a crimp on it and put it right here. It's already been determined to be a ground. This is 8mm. I'm going to use a stud for a ground. You could also put a splice on the black wire. At this point, let's test it. Test all the connections and see if it works.
Okay, it's in reverse. And there's the pick.
Next, the driver's side lower trim piece needs to be pulled out of the way. This one's not going to come off all the way, but that's going to be good enough right there. And this one's kind of stubborn. Give it a good couple of jerks and it'll release. This is one way to do it. I have a wire puller, so I'm going to feed that through here from the driver's side seat through that piece that we didn't take out in the middle, and then all the way to the back. And if you meet some resistance, just tap it and twist it until you find a way through. And there it is coming out in the trunk. Okay, secure the end of the long wire to your puller, or whatever kind of wire you want to use. Okay, now we're just going to pull the wire through from the trunk to the front. And if it gets hung up, just jiggle it a little bit. It'll come through. And there we are. Let's pull the whole thing through. Okay, we're going to place it either here or here. We haven't decided yet, but for now I'm going to place it right here. So take off the plastic. And you cock this up like that. Put it right about here. It didn't stick well in that first place, so I'm putting it up here on the top of the dash. Okay. There, that's it. You could tape this, but I like to use a little piece of fabric rolled up of dark color to hold it in there. So we're running it under here. And we're just going to put the weather strip back on. Okay, now once I selected my monitor position and mounted it, I pulled all the excess wire back into the trunk, where we'll conceal it there. And through the gap and into the trunk we go. Now you could get creative with your routing here, but I just like to follow the harness wherever it goes. If you like wire ties, the kit only included 4, so you'll have to pick up some more. And that's all that's left. A little bit more of the power wires. So we'll just tuck those up and take them up. When this was pulled out, those panel fasteners slipped out of the slots, so I'm putting them back now. Okay, we're going to take this out for a daytime test. The camera comes up right away. There's no delay at all, which you do get sometimes with the wireless cameras I've installed. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the things I like about the wired. This camera also, for me, had very impressive video. And next, we're going to check the after dark performance. Okay, this looks good too. So it probably took me a couple hours to put in my favorite backup camera, and I'm experienced at it. But I like it. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.